Good morning, and welcome to another stage dive. The chaos has unfolded on top of all of us, smack bang into silly season. So it's quite a small, tight, personal group here today. So, for those of you that are watching the recording afterwards, welcome to another stage dive. When we started this, it was a good idea to hold it every single month. And as we move now into silly season, I'm like, is it a good idea? I don't really think it's a good idea, but at least we know it's not about me. It's not about stage dive. It's not about multimedia. It's about equipping you guys to go out and create change because ultimately we want to leave this world a little bit better than what we found it. But today, we are going to zoom into those small building blocks that ultimately create bigger impact. And those are micro moments. Now, we live in a world where we swipe and we scroll and we are viewing these 15-second clips that has more power over our attention than a 2-hour keynote that we spend a lot of money on. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and even Netflix with Love, Sex, and Robots are currently impacting our audiences. They're being trained to crave content that is sharp, quick, and quite sticky. They want to grab attention. Now, if that means that we as event creators don't adapt, we'll start to lose our audiences, and we need to design our events for these micro moments. If we don't, we'll lose the attention before our main acts even start. And here's the thing, a micro moment isn't just about being short, it's about being intentional. Every single micro moment needs to do four things. First, they need to get your audience to care. We need to create this emotional connection with every single audience member because if they don't feel something for what we have to say, they're most probably not going to listen to what we have to say. And a lot of times we've realized that people forget about the different emotions that you can utilize at your event: fear, greed, all of these things that usually are quite scary. We don't want to deal with it, are powerful things that we can utilize. Donald Trump is great at utilizing fear to move his audience. Tony Robbins is great at utilizing greed to move his audiences. And we need to do the same thing through utilizing these small, impactful moments to ultimately create change. Then the next thing we need to do is we have to get people to believe. We need to get them to buy into the experience and that they understand that this thing will equip them to ultimately create long lasting personal change. And then we need to tell them what they need to know. Give them those insights, give them those points that will shift their mindset so that they can go out and create change. But ultimately, the most important thing that everything has to do at an event is provide people with an action plan. Tell them what they need to do. It's not about giving them a call to action. Call to action doesn't mean anything, but give them a plan, steps that they can follow so that they ultimately achieve the success that we expect from them. Now, I want you to think about your own media diet, the things that you consume when you're on your phone or on your computer. And how often do you find yourself abandoning a YouTube video 45 seconds into it? You're like, I don't really feel this. How often do you scroll past a post, you start to read the first two lines, and you're like, you know what, I'm out. TLDR, too long to read. Now, our audiences experience this every single day, and they are primed for these short form snackable moments, and they experience highly personalized experiences through the algorithms that track everything that's important to them. Now, long form still has its time and place in our lives, but short form content is able to capture attention. It's the currency of grabbing people's attentions. Now, here's the unique thing: micro moments can stack. It's not something that you just do one and you hope for the best. How do you fill up the dead space in between your slots to grab the attention, get people to care, get people to believe, tell them what they need to know, and tell them what they need to do? Because every single micro moment sparks curiosity. Now, a second one might spark belief, But by the fifth or sixth micro moment, you've started to shift their behavior. And that's what we want to do at events. We want to influence behavior so that people can go out and actually do something. And that is the real power of design. Now, events aren't, well, they have their big bang moment, but not all events are just built about around this one singular thing. They're engineered around different kinds of elements, from the catering, the venue, the different kinds of speakers, the entertainment that you choose. But each one of those things misses those moments in between where we can take people on a journey. And those moments, we believe, needs to be designed to ignite some sort of change. But let's get practical. Today is not about just sharing. It's about taking you through these kind of ideas that we have that are not expensive. Because we know people say, oh, we don't have money for these things. 99% of these things is almost free. With a 400 Rand spent, you can start to impact your audience's lives. Now, I want to take you through some of these things, the mechanics, so that you can already start to inject some change into your next event. Now, the one big thing that we've spoken about multiple times, we first started talking about it at our Future of Events showcase, is these confession booths. And it's starting to really excite people. They don't necessarily like the name, but a name is easy to change. But it's an opportunity for you to have that connection with your audience. Now, what happens when we have Q&A and people need to stand up and ask their questions? Fear kicks in. People don't want to look like idiots in front of the rest of the audience. So what do? They just remain quiet. They don't share the things that we actually need to get from them. And if we have some sort of app, it's effort. I don't want to type everything out. So I'll rather just remain quiet and hopefully I can have a conversation with someone in the hospitality suite. So what we want to do with these confession booths is to create an environment with the honesty that people crave. We give them that space, but we take away that moment of vulnerability, that moment of fear. We give them a box, a safe, fun way where they can confess something. They can raise their fears, they can ask their questions in a professional space. It can be personal or it can be work related. Now, the nice thing with this is you can have a camera inside that booth, or you can just have a microphone and you record what these people have to ask. Ultimately, the plan is for you then to put that video, play that audio on stage so that your panel discussion, your speakers can hear the fear and they can ultimately address it instantly. This is what you need to do. These are the action steps that you need to take to get through this moment of scaredness. And ultimately, that's what we want to achieve. We want to create an environment where the audience has the problem and our speakers, our panelists all come in and they say, you know what? I want to equip you to go out and create change. And through this, we get through this opportunity to get people to care. We create an emotional connection. We get people to believe because we have these experts that solve the problems. We tell them what they need to know. And ultimately, we tell them what they need to do and they're able to go out and create change. Now, the next thing that you can do, and this is where that affordable things start popping in. And we call it the unstuck submission, a basic card that you give to every single audience member. And they can write what they're stuck on. Hey, I have issues. It's a sales conference, but I'm unable to get past the ceiling within my sales. What can I do? I'm stuck. I need help. And your speakers on stage can anonymously take these cards and answer the questions. Because the funny thing is, the large portion of your audience all have the same problems. And if we just come in and we tell them, sell, 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 but we don't focus on their problems, we're not able to move them forward to create change. So through this, you're able then to provide a live, fast, and specific way to get past these stuck points where people are glued into and they don't see a positive future. And it's an interactive problem solving solution that's in a snap form. It can be fast, it can move quick. So instead of this vague theory where people just have conversations, people now walk away with tactical answers on what they need to do to create change. And the next thing you can start looking at is secret mission drops. Now, you don't have to use these things as they are. It's an opportunity for us to share so that you can start thinking different about what you do with your audience in between these moments of grayness, these liminal spaces where nothing actually goes on. So, secret mission drop. You send your audience emails before the event with a certain task that they need to complete. It can be something fun, it can be something scary, but everyone gets a different kind of task. So, for instance, you can tell people go and find the guy with sneakers and ask them what's the biggest lesson they can deliver to someone in business. And people start moving around and having conversations around things that are actually important. Because what happens at networking? We come in, we're scared, we don't want to connect with people, we don't know who they are, and fear kicks in. We detach and we sit on the side. But if we equip people to ask the right questions, suddenly conversations start flowing. And it's quite easy. You can walk up to someone and say, my secret mission is to ask you X, Y, and Z. And now that other individual who also has his own missions can assist this person because we're breaking down the barriers. And ultimately, the missions create a sense of play within networking, and it starts to reveal this hidden purpose of what you want to achieve with your event. It's gamification with impact, but it's not an expensive experience that you need to create. And then next up, we have what we call the influence card. You give each audience member, as they come in, a card, and on it they need to write down a specific thing that they give to someone. So as an example, so they write down, introduce someone to a new person. You give that card to a different person and say, okay, cool, I need to introduce someone, or I need to switch seats, or I need to challenge one assumption today. When we have Q&A, people sit down, they're scared to ask certain questions. So right now, you know what? I want you to challenge a thing today. Give that to a different person. And suddenly, oh, someone's instructed me to do this. This is scary, but they're looking at me. We have a moment of connection. We're going to get up and do it. One card, one action, a ripple effect of change where you force people to engage and participate together. And it kind of mirrors this next one, the whisper network, where you do things a lot more secretive, where people do anonymous things with each other to push them to engage a little bit more. It's not about being childish, but intentional. Yet again, sneak a note to someone. Ask the speaker the hardest question that you can think of. Suddenly, the speakers and the audience is engaging in different ways because we're trying to do unique things. You can write down a certain prompt. Example, yet again, ask the most difficult question. You throw it in a box. After tea, everyone comes back. They pull a prompt, and now they have a task that they need to go and achieve. And it starts to surface hidden voices. It starts to encourage courage so that people can go out and build like a connective energy where together we're starting to have fun and we do different kinds of things. Then we have something called live auction, where everyone gets a set of currency. It can be a token, it can be cards, it can be anything that's cheap and affordable for you. But your audience spends the currency on different things. If they want to attend a certain session, they have to spend a certain amount of currency. If they want a coffee, they have to spend a certain amount of currency. If they want to hand out their money to other people, they're welcome to do so. But ultimately, you want to create an environment where people realize a sense of lack. And why do we want to do something like that? Because we create this marketplace of attention and you can see what your audience actually values. If you have a session where people spend the most amount of the currency, you know that is important. If you see that people spend more on coffee than on attending your sessions, you don't have the right sessions in place to actually capture people's attention. You're not solving the right problem so that they want to attend this thing. Now, if you have a session that is yet again around sales or any sort of limitations, you can close up your entire event by saying you all got put into this environment of lack where you had to figure out how to spend things. So now in closing, we're going to equip you to move past that. We're going to equip you to move past that ceiling that you think, I don't have enough. And suddenly people are like, wow, I experienced it today. I wasn't sure how to use this currency. I accidentally gave half of it to someone or left it on a table. I wasn't able to do things. And now people are engaging because they enjoy the task of participating in your event. And then we move on to myth busters. And it's often something that we say, it's a TV show. Why care? How can you use things out there that people understand and resonate with and turn it into something that's fun and unique in your event where you solve certain problems? Because at the end of the day, we want to solve problems at our events. So you can set up this quick fire challenge where you debunk the most common misconceptions with your events. Good example is budget myths. Our industry will say, oh, there's always a constraint on budget. The budgets aren't big enough. We can't do all of these things. Budgets aren't growing. But the budgets are growing. The only thing is, after 2020, suddenly there's a lot more virtual events. So, where the budgets are growing 10% a year, in some cases, the quantity of events from your customer has grown 50, 80, 100%, and they have to do more with less, but the budgets are still growing. So, Xco says, no, but there is enough money. We've grown our budgets, but we've also grown the quantity of the shows. And we can start having conversations about these myths, and the audience realizes, wow, I didn't perceive this thing in such a way because of the way that you package it. How can you address certain strategy myths within your company, within your events? How can you address certain industry myths and make people realize that things are a little bit different than what they anticipate? And it allows us to reframe the viewpoints in minutes instead of spending hours on conversations by turning it into something fun and unique. And then next up, we have Time Capsule. And this is something that will most probably run through a app or a website or something like that, where you ask your audience to make a commitment and say, I want to achieve X, Y, and Z in 6 months. The app or the platform then sends them notifications once a month. Hey, you made a commitment 6 months ago, 1 month ago to achieve X, Y, and Z. How far are you in? Track what you've done. Has there been some sort of change? 30 days later, another notification. In 4 months from now, your time capsule is going to open. Did you achieve what you wanted to do? And continuously remind people the promise that they made of the change they want to create. Because through that, your change just doesn't just end at the end of the day of your event. Ultimately, it's long lasting and it starts to echo. So when the time runs out and they get the notification, they say, boop, your time capsule is opening. This is the comments or the commitments that you made. Did you achieve it? And if people say yes, they can post it on LinkedIn or send an email to someone saying, look at this. I achieved what I promised I would achieve. But it's about continuous reminding them about the commitment that they've made. Because often we just leave people after an event and we hope that there's long lasting change. And this allows us to keep on engaging with them. Then we have shadow decisions. Now, this is where we start to reveal those big problems. A lot of times, event planners, Exco, whoever, is scared to talk about the things that we know are problems. But now our audience is disconnecting because we're not addressing the elephant in the room. Good example, yet again, is a sales conference. Oh, we need you to sell more, do more, achieve more. But there's certain constraints globally that's stopping people from achieving certain things. There's certain ceilings in place that they can't break through. So now you utilize this quick opportunity, a 3-minute thing on addressing those big problems. Your audience starts resonating more with you because they see that you get what their problems are. You're not just walking in and tell them, be better. You're telling them, we know what's going on. This is the actionable steps that you can take. Do this, and let's see if we can break past that ceiling while then continuing with our big conversations, our keynotes, and things like that. Don't run away from the problems. Don't ignore the problems. You can address it in a quick moment and equip people to ultimately do what they need to do. Then there's something called live remix. It's not something that we've done, but I think it's a very cool and unique special moment we can bring people closer together. You get a music producer and they create a song on the spot. Throughout the day, you record the sessions, you take sound bites from your keynote speakers, you walk around inside the venue with a camera and a microphone, and you record sound bites. Hey, what's your biggest problem? Hey, what was the most exciting thing this morning? What's the biggest takeaway? Record it, give it to a professional, and let them turn it into a song. because now you can close your event with this custom song that we helped to create as audience members. Suddenly, I am part of a song. I've never been part of a song. My voice has never been included in any sort of event. And suddenly, I'm this big influencer in this entire thing. And you can elevate it further by turning it into a music video. Ask yourself, cool, can I record everything on camera? Doesn't need to happen right there if you don't have time, but say, cool, I'm gonna take these audio elements, I'm gonna take the music, I'm gonna take footage from my event and turn it into a music video that people can share online and say, I was part of this thing. This was so fun. And people can go back and reflect on it and listen to what has happened at the event. Then next up, we have something called unlocked memory. So rather than giving your people, your audience an entire agenda with every single speaker, keep something secretive right at the end. This is a secret slot and you need to unlock it. The only way to unlock it is through asking certain questions and certain things need to happen. Now you can guide them in the direction that they need to go, or you can keep it a little bit secretive and see what starts to happen. So you can ask your content teams, please make a lock that's always on screen. And if someone asks a specific question, for instance, a vault, you see the thing start to shift. And people are like, oh, something's happening, something's changing. And slowly but surely, you create an environment of confidence so that people ask questions and participate in certain things to keep that dial moving because they want to see what happens. There's this moment of reward that people want. And we know through science and research that the biggest dopamine hits doesn't happen when the reward happens, it's beforehand. People, the angst and the excitement of what is going to happen motivates people to do more. They want to get closer to that thing. And ultimately, when they experience it, like, oh, okay, cool, sweet, moving on swiftly. And you can reveal your keynote speakers in unique ways through creating an environment of courage so that people want to ask questions and do certain things to keep the dial moving forward. And then we have shared artifact. Now, we have something unique planned for our future of events conference next year that I'm not going to share now because it's very cool. But for an example, for shared artifact is how can you create something small and unique that people can customize throughout an event. Most basic thing, give them a rock, write something on the rock, paint the rock, whatever happens, engage with the rock and you have something that you can take home. But a new, more fun, uh, technology-driven thing is something like a 3D printed action figure where it's not complete, it's different parts. So you attend a certain session and you receive a certain part. So for instance, you go to a headstrong session and you get a helmet and you have your action figure base and you're able to click the helmet in. You attend a sales thing and you get a jacket and you're able to clip it in. You go to something fun and you're able to clip it in. And you build your own little action figure that can stand on your desk after the event. Why does that create any sort of long lasting positive change? Because through AR, you can scan that thing and it's able to trigger back to the video of that session from your event. So if I have my action figure and I can't remember something, I scan it. I want to see the headstrong video, the headstrong video plays, and I'm able to be reminded and we're able to extend the life of our content filmed during our events through something that is interactive, fun, and hyper personalized. Because if people attend different sessions, no one will have the same action figure. And ultimately, you want to give them an opportunity where they can remix it, make their own thing. And the object becomes a powerful symbol of the entire journey that they were on. So, why do these micro moments matter? Why should we care about these things? Because I believe it's the future of engagement. It's not about having Q&A. It's not about having a word cloud, another freaking stupid word cloud. It's not about having engaging questions and having fun. No, it's about creating change. Get people to care, get people to believe, tell them what they need to know, and tell them what they need to do. And through that, we're able to respect the audience. We're able to snap them, get them in, get them to focus on the things that they need to focus on. We're able to utilize short form attention to say, oi, I need you to focus. I need you to participate in this now before I lose you again through a 40-minute keynote. It allows us to create personalization at scale, something that people write down and they give to someone to say, hey, be brave, go and do this. An action figure that is your own thing that you create at an event. A little bit of courage to share your story without being put on the spot yourself to do it. And it also allows us to create shared meaning in seconds. Having someone connect with someone sitting next to them saying, hey, I want you to do this. Go and ask this question because I'm scared. I'm not going to do it. And then a moment of bravery saying, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm going to participate in this way. And we start to create connections between our audience while creating connection with them from stage. But mostly, the most important thing is how can you stack these things to create an entire journey to land your message? One micro moment is cool, but having 10 in between all your sessions is something that is quite unforgettable. And people walk away saying, wow, I was part of this event. I created this event in a very quick and easy way without disrupting keynote speakers and the sessions that's important from our clients to ultimately land their message. So if I can leave you with one idea for today, it's about designing for the moment to deliver change. It's not about just designing your entire event. How can you utilize a single moment to create something special? And how can you redo it in the next slot and again so that people feel like, wow, I'm getting the opportunity to be myself, raise my voice, share my fears, and create change. Because change doesn't always come from one big speech or some long workshop. It comes from a moment where someone's able to share, a moment that someone's able to be vulnerable. And why is that important? Because it's an emotional experience that people will remember. It's a thing that burns into your mind and say, wow, I had a connection with this individual where we asked something bravely. It's an opportunity where people remember they got into a box, did a recording, and someone addressed it from stage. It's a moment that's special to them. And that's where the real magic ultimately lives, in those unique moments that those audience members can feel right here. And that's where the event then stops being about you delivering content, but ultimately delivering change through personalization. The most important thing is ask yourself, how can you add extra value? How can you create something that's special? Because micro moments can lead to big impact. And ultimately, that is the future of events. Thank you very much for listening, watching this recording. We hope that you have a exciting, silly season, that this can guide you in your thinking, that you're able to go out and say, you know what, I am going to create change. To those of you that are watching the recording, bye. To those of you online, let's have a quick conversation about this, and then I'll see the rest of you in the next stage dive.